Hello and welcome to the Transform to Love interview series. My guest today is Elada Eimaite. Hi, Elada.
Hi,
And
hi everyone.
yeah, and I'm really excited to talk to you because I know you have some really amazing things to share about your own story. So you shared with me that you felt, you were struggling with low self-worth during your teenage years um, and it all came down to what you shared with me was that the relationship with your mother was kind of
Painful.
painful. Yeah, yeah. Would you like to share a little bit more about that and how you overcame this?
Oh, thank you. Thank you. First of all, thank you for having me here. It's
Yeah.
such a pleasure to be sharing my own story and, empowering other people, other women
Yeah.
to maybe make some changes or to understand a bit more about themselves, about their own journey in life. And we all
Yeah.
are having our own stories and living our lives, and we want to
Yeah.
understand ourselves a bit more, don't we? So
Yeah.
it's always lovely. It's for me, it's always inspiring to listen to other people's stories,
Mm-hmm.
and you always can learn so many things if you listen carefully.
Yeah, that's true.
So thank you, Katja, for doing it, and it's really great. So my story probably is not very different to a lot of women's stories. I grew up in a normal family, and I had a brother, and actually until I was probably 25, I didn't even realize that I was actually struggling in life on so many levels. Now I know that I had low self-worth. Now I know that I had inferiority complex. I was hiding from people. I didn't know how to express my emotions and a lot of things. But
Mm-hmm.
but until I hit 25, I didn't really know these things. I
Yeah.
just felt unhappy. My relationship with my mother was always full of conflicts or arguments, or I never was enough. Whatever I did or however I was, there's always was something she would pick up on.
Mm-hmm.
But at that time, again, it felt to me like maybe it's just normal. That's how families live. I didn't have any other harmonious family relationship.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And also our family wasn't antisocial or in any ways, like, well, my parents were not alcoholic. When we look, sometimes we look in these families and think, oh my god, these are problematic families and these families are normal,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
they're fine. But actually these normal families also have their challenges, and maybe
That's
our parents
true.
or your parents are not really struggling especially with something really major, but still it can be very painful. You can feel misunderstood, unloved, so low self-esteem, conflicting
Yeah.
relationships. So that's exactly what was my family and how I was growing up.
Mm-hmm.
uh, so I was so unhappy by when I hit 17. I had even suicidal thoughts.
Mm.
I didn't know why I was feeling so bad, and the relationship, now I call it, between me and my mother, sort of psychologically abusive. So
Mm-hmm.
she didn't realize what she was doing. She wasn't
Yeah.
doing it on purpose. Now I know, because I
Mm-hmm.
healed that journey, but she didn't know that
Yeah.
she was pushing me away, that she was emotionally unavailable, that I felt lost, unloved, lonely, super lonely,
Mm-hmm.
misunderstood.
Yeah.
And that pain accumulated. And of course, when I was about 21, I found a guy who
Mm-hmm.
replicated that relationship. Literally, it was completely the same. So I
Mm-hmm.
felt in that relationship again unloved, misunderstood, and so on. So that was actually pretty painful. 10
Mm-hmm.
years from my 15s, so especially in teenage years, to 25 was really 10 years of painful relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of it, of course, I started to waking up. I started realizing that there's something really wrong.
Yeah.
I shouldn't feel the way I'm feeling. That something needs to change. I need to make it work somehow. And that's where my proper transformation
Mm-hmm.
happened.
Yeah. Yeah. And share a little more about that because I can relate so much to,
Mm.
these painful teenage years and the way you described you were feeling because, I've been on my own journey and I've experienced that as well. And I know a lot of women experience that and they all think
Yes.
it's just normal. It's part of life.
Yeah.
And then when we wake up to the fact that this is not how life should be,
B.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
that's
Very, very
huge.
true. So I completely agree with you. I think probably if I had someone who, who told me that it is not supposed to be like that,
Yeah.
that you can feel better, that there are ways to feel better,
Mm-hmm.
that relationships can be improved, communication can be
Yeah.
improved. And if somebody doesn't love you, it doesn't mean that you are unworthy or not deserving or worthless.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't know that back then. And of course, I didn't even know these words I'm just sharing with you. I
Yeah.
just knew what I felt. I felt bad. I felt not enough.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it was the feeling of that emptiness was the sort of a trigger. I thought, I don't know how I did that, but at one point I realized that this is enough. I just need to find a way.
Mm-hmm.
Deep down in my heart, I knew this has to be a way because I saw people around me. Some people were really happy and smiling, and
Mm-hmm.
some girls would say to me, "Oh, we are best friends with my mom," and I was like, "Oh, this it exists. It,
Mm-hmm.
it can it can be actually changed." So that's how
Yeah.
I started going into personal development. So
Mm-hmm.
that was my first approach to literally start reading self-help books,
Mm-hmm.
spiritual books, esoteric books, just to really start understanding more about human being, about emotions, about life, about laws of life. Just to find some more information. How does it really work? What is this
Mm-hmm.
happiness about? What is this sort of emotional intelligence?
Yeah.
What's meditation?
Mm-hmm.
And that's where it sort of led me into slowly, sort of, I started to understand that, wow, people the way they are, there's a reason the way they are, the way they
Yeah.
are. There's the reason why they're communicating the way they're communicating.
Mm-hmm.
And that's bit by bit, I started realizing that, wow, there's definitely a way, and I can understand more about myself, and I can definitely shift things around.
Yeah. Beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and how did this relationship develop over time? So, where are you now with your mother? And
Well,
yeah, share a little bit
yes,
more about
yes,
that.
yes. Well, we are in a great relationship at the moment, and for
Mm-hmm.
actually quite a few years now. But it took for me. Let's start from the beginning. So when I realized that something needs to shift, I realized that our relationship is too toxic and too painful.
Yeah.
Because I actually used to try to explain her my reasons and I would cry and I would call her and say, "Mom, but I did this and did that because of this," and then she would just say, "Oh, you liar! Oh, I always knew you nothing," and these sort of comments. And
Mm-hmm.
I realized that at that point, when I was reading already personal development books, that she is not hearing me. She's not able to understand me on some level. So I just needed. I read in one book someone saying, if the relationship is too painful and too toxic for you at the moment, give yourself some time and space to be away from these people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that really helped me because I created the space for about 3 years. I wasn't calling my mother, even though it was painful for me, but
Yeah.
I needed this time to go deeper and realize what is really happening. What is our relationship? Where is she hurting me?
Mm-hmm.
And even what she's expecting from me and why she's behaving even that way.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because I thought, if I'm your child, I mean, well, at least you love me that bit, why are you behaving this way?
Yeah.
And then I gone deeper into why people are toxic or why they are emotionally absent. And I realized that we are the way because we have our own wounds from our own childhood.
Yeah.
So I dig deeper into my mother's childhood and I realized that she never had a father, first of all, and her mother disowned her. She
Mm-hmm.
literally gave her away to her own sister. So she was growing up with her auntie,
Mm-hmm.
and her mother was also very physically and psychologically abusive until she was living with her. So I think probably about when she was 6, she was sent away to live with her auntie.
Mm-hmm.
And for that little girl not to have a father and to have a mother who was abusive and not loving, and to live in other family,
Yeah.
and that family was had a bit of alcoholic history as well, so it wasn't perfect on so many levels as well.
Mm-hmm.
So her unavailability emotionally, her low self-worth, low
Mm-hmm.
self-esteem, disrespect, dishonoring her own self, and knowing her own family, that's why she had these wounds. That's why she was behaving with me in that toxic way, because
Yeah.
she didn't know better.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what I understood in that 3 year
Mm-hmm.
space, when I was going deeper and deeper and deeper, not only understanding and healing my own pain, because of course, even if she had that history, whatever she had, it still hurt me. It didn't take away my pain completely, that I realized that her childhood was painful.
Yeah.
But I could understand her more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was the most transformational time for me, because I wanted to heal my family dynamics. I
Yeah.
wanted my family to be harmonious. I thought that she deserves a great relationship with me, and she was unable to do
Mm.
it because of her painful past.
Yeah.
So of course, I forgave her and wrote forgiving letters, and I of course forgave myself, because I tried also all different ways how to communicate to her before that 3 year space. I lied. I didn't say a thing. I was angry. Then I was indifferent. I was looking for these ways how to communicate to her, so then she's at
Mm-hmm.
least a little bit pleased.
Yeah.
But nothing worked until I've gone deeper.
Yeah. Yeah. And it sounds like you created a space not only for your own transformation, but for hers as well. And
Yes.
that is really, really beautiful.
It is
And
beautiful. Thank you.
yeah, yeah. And I love this, I got chills when you were talking that you realized you need to have some space from her and, have these 3 years of really going deep and healing this and going to the root.
Of it all. Yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Really, really amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah. And did you share something about this, about your journey with your mother?
Yeah. I did share it a bit,
Mm-hmm.
but also I think I also realized that emotionally and spiritually, maybe she's never gonna be like me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was accepting. So through these three
Mm-hmm.
years, I realized that one of the things for to heal our relationship was accepting the way she was,
Yeah.
accepting her story, and accepting
Mm-hmm.
our own story between her and me, and not expecting anything from her, like she really will understand me,
Mm-hmm.
or she will suddenly like wake up. I remember these days when I would dream about like she calling me and saying to me, "Oh my God, I was so wrong, and you were so right, and I
Mm-hmm.
so love you, and I did everything wrong." I
Yeah.
was dreaming about this, like craving that.
Mm-hmm.
But I realized that I have to let it go, because she might not even understand my own pain completely,
Yeah.
because she's got her own pain, and she
Yeah.
can relate on some levels with me, but she might not, and it's okay, because I still wanted to love her no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
She was my mother, she is my mother, and I decided that whatever she lived and however she felt, it's not gonna be a block for me to love her. And I
Yeah.
chose to
Mm-hmm.
love instead
Mm.
of hating, instead of being displeased, instead of being hurt.
Yeah.
I chose to love her.
Mm. That's really powerful. I feel in this accepting someone else the way this person is, there is so much power.
It is.
Yeah.
It
Mm.
takes some guts. It takes some
Yeah,
commitment. It takes some courage.
absolutely.
Um,
Yeah.
but that's where it is the transformation.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people sometimes think, "Oh my God, I just realized something and it's transformation." Transformation is deeper.
Mm-hmm.
It's Transformation requires from you a new level of awareness
Mm-hmm.
and thinking and feeling and behaving. And it's just a new way of being.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. And thank you for sharing that, because that's what I see a lot of people do. They read a book and they think, oh, I've understood this and now my life is going to transform, but nothing is changing.
Yes. Yes. Very
And
much so.
yeah, absolutely. It's a new way of being in all areas of life. So it includes all areas of life. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Hmm.
All levels as
All
well, and
levels. Yeah.
spiritual and emotional and
Hmm.
physical. And it always requires you being conscious
Yeah.
in the ways you behave, in the ways you act, in the ways you perceive yourself and perceive others. Because transformation is not just knowing intellectually that,
Yeah.
oh, I'm going to love someone, oh, I'm going to be better, oh, I'm going to lose weight, or I'm going to feel worthy.
Hmm.
It's yes, it's good. It starts here intellectually when we're aware that we can actually feel worthy. It
Yeah.
doesn't mean that if somebody didn't like us, or if our mother found hard to love us because of her own story, it doesn't mean that we are worthless. It doesn't mean that we are not deserving. So it's great to know that, but then is the next step. So it requires something deeper, something more. So you need to realize what are your beliefs about mother and daughter, and what are your beliefs about yourself and about self-worth. And when you go deeper a little bit, just to check these out and also transform them, tweak them, so they are empowering to you, that you feel deserving
Hmm.
from that deeper space, then you can feel deserving and you can feel worthy.
Yeah.
And that's how you lift your self-worth. Not just, a lot of women know that it's very popular at the moment to say, oh, take some time for yourself and do your nails and go to spa. And
Hmm.
it's great. It's self-care. I call it self-care.
Yeah.
When it comes to self-love and the deeper that self-worth, it's much deeper than that. So,
Yeah.
so nails are great. I've got mine done yesterday.
And they look
But
beautiful.
thank you. But we need to go a bit deeper with that. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I agree. I feel self love is such a huge concept, and a lot of people are talking about it, as you just shared. And it's kind of, we're just at the tip of the iceberg.
We are.
Yeah. And we need to go deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very, very true. Very, very true. Um, I didn't actually. When I had my transformation, I was healing my inner being and my mother's story, and we were healing our own, joint story.
Hmm.
I never realized that at the end of it all, of that all transformation, I'm gonna call it self-love. I thought,
Yeah.
I just needed to check few beliefs. I just needed to heal my pain. I was hurt. I have to forgive. I have to accept.
Hmm.
And that was great. But then, I became a coach and I started working with more women who were struggling with, self-image, self-esteem, self-respect, self-worth, all these issues. And
Hmm.
lots of them, of course, come from families.
Yeah.
And I realized that actually self-love is the foundation.
Hmm.
Self-love is what actually heals us. That everything what I was doing, all my transformation and all other women transformation, is always about self-love.
Yeah. Hmm.
And that's where you realize that, wow, when I love myself, I can be myself and I can be more, and I can, live my potential. I can live
Yeah.
my dreams. That's where it grows from. Because when you love someone, let's say when you give birth to your baby and there's
Hmm.
pure unconditional love, you are in a different space. You
Hmm.
are more able. Your heart is open.
Yeah.
You trust the universe. You trust
Hmm.
yourself. You see beauty. You see actually magic
Yeah.
of life, and
Hmm.
you see that divine magic as well. And that's where you are the most capable. In that
Hmm.
space, you are completely whole, completely healed, completely happy, innocent, joyful.
Yeah.
And this space is so powerful. From there, we create, we love, with our open heart, it's so much easier to live in that space. So this space, it is self-love. It is unconditional love towards yourself, your soul, your heart, your body, your life, your journey, your path, your mission.
Yeah.
And that's what it's self-love all about.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I love that because, I've been talking to a lot of people in the last years, and many people don't really get that this concept includes all areas of life. Self-love is not just self-care, it
It's more than that.
affects all areas of life. So, how do you live? Where do you live? What do you do for a living? What kind of relationships do you have, etc. So, it's really such a big, big thing. And yeah, you explained that beautifully. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, God. It's a pleasure to talk about these things
Mm-hmm.
because I always use actually an example of us being hungry. Just
Mm-hmm.
imagine you're really hungry, like really hungry, really exhausted, and you go into the shop before you head home. Let's say you were working, I don't know, 24 hours and you just completely like exhausted and hungry and thirsty.
Yeah.
What do you do in the shop? I mean, you grab stuff you normally don't even buy. You just your eyes are big. Your decisions are inadequate. I mean, your decisions are
Mm-hmm.
sort of influenced by that hunger. So you actually most of the time you buy more stuff than you need, or you buy stuff you never buy or never eat,
Mm-hmm.
and then you go home and then you just hobble it all in.
Yeah.
So when we are hungry emotionally,
Mm.
not even physically, I don't even talk about emotionally, spiritually, from
Yeah.
our relationship, from our past, from our wounds, traumas, tragedies, and
Mm-hmm.
it's not healed, we are literally deficient in
Yeah.
that love, in that self-love.
Mm-hmm.
So our decisions are like that person who is hungry and exhausted in the middle of the shop.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They're not balanced. They're not aligned, these decisions. We're hungry. We might be actually angry. We might be pushy because
Mm-hmm.
we're stressed because we are so disbalanced. So when
Mm-hmm.
we in self-love, when we let's say you go to do some shopping, but you just had beautiful lunch with someone you love. You had a great conversation. You had the most amazing meal. Of course, you rested. You're not worked for 24 hours, so you're not stressed. You're completely happy. And then you go to the shop. And then you can actually enjoy the shopping experience. Okay, what should I have? And just choose this and that. So you are enjoying experience being in the shop and shopping. I know it's
Mm-hmm.
very simple example, but it really works.
Yeah.
And then you can actually think what you're going to have for dinner, maybe even create something in your mind and then look for the product and maybe even surprise your family and say, oh, I'm just going to bake today some special cake.
Yeah.
I'm just in a mood.
Yeah.
So you are much more capable, you're much more creative, much more joyful in
Mm-hmm.
that space where you're not deficient of anything. You're not exhausted, stressed, when you balance, when you align. And self-love does that. So when you
Yeah.
are in that balanced, aligned mode,
Mm-hmm.
your business is much more successful. You
Mm-hmm.
serve, let's say, if you are in the business who serve other clients, your clients are much more happier. Your relationships are much better. The quality of your time with children, with your
Mm-hmm.
partner, with your moms and dads are, maybe you spend the same amount of time, but the quality is different.
Yeah.
You are much more inclined to share, be joyful, be loving, giving,
Yeah.
contributing to society, to the world in general,
Mm-hmm.
and you are full of love towards yourself as well and the world. So I mean, every single person deserves that feeling, and
Mm-hmm.
it's available for them too.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good point because a lot of people want that, but they don't know how.
To get there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you do some amazing work. So I love this example and I can relate to that from my own journey, when you feel like you want something, you need something to fill you up, and it doesn't matter what it is, and you grab whatever,
Grab
you
that.
know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You open the fridge and
Yeah.
you grab the food to
And
make yourself feel comfortable. At
you still
least
feel empty
you still feel
afterwards.
empty, and you
Yeah.
you, you eat cakes and you overeat,
Hmm.
or you drink too much wine, or you actually get involved in relationships which are again toxic to you, but you feel like that person is going to fill that emptiness, but They never do, because that doesn't work like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think on some level, every single woman relates to what we are talking today about.
Yeah.
And I always say the first thing what you need to understand if you want to transform your life, your stories, your pains, your hurts, and you want to feel worthy of success and happiness and that even balanced feeling, that good feeling, not a bad feeling, good feeling. Let's start from here.
Yeah.
We don't want to take you to the stars or to other planets or to something extraordinary. Let's start from these little steps. And it's always very important to remember little steps from feeling bad to feeling a relief and to feeling better, at least a little bit better. So all you need to know, you need to look into your story. Do not run away from your experiences, from your past, from the relationships. Look into that. Why this is happening? What is it doing to you? Could it be better? Look into that. And I always teach people to realize that our stories makes us. And our stories shouldn't disempower us. It could actually empower us if we choose so. I could be in this position now and say, my mother didn't love me the way I wanted her to love me. She wasn't supportive. I felt lonely. And now I'm struggling here and I'm a victim. And, if they had loved me a little bit more, then maybe I could have been more successful. And it's a victim approach when we are hurt and we are victims. And I want to be sensitive to everyone who is listening now, because sometimes we are in that space where we really, really, really feel hurt. And it's okay to be in that space for some time. But do not keep ourselves in that space when you are hurt and helpless and powerless for decades. Because we can shift from that space and we can start healing. Because if somebody hurts you, it doesn't mean that you are unworthy or that something is wrong with you. It doesn't mean that at all. It hurt you because every single human being was hurt. No one is exception. No one. No one.
Absolutely.
And we all together, knowing that the hurt can be the door to your own transformation, and you can go and start forgiving, start going deeper, start accepting that situation, whatever it was, and moving forward. That's where you start healing, not holding onto the grudge, not holding onto the pain, not holding onto the hurt, not wearing your hurt as literally like clothes or like a badge. I was hurt, look at me. Or I was ill, or I was sick. Everyone was there at one point in their life. Someone was actually in pretty horrible situation, and someone was maybe less horrible. But for every single one of us, it's still really hurtful. But we can raise from that. We can make these things make us stronger.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, I love that. And that's what this interview series is all about, just sharing our stories and show that we all can rise above these circumstances, that there is a way out always.
Always.
Yeah.
Always.
Oh,
always.
Thank you so much. That's beautiful. I could talk for hours with you.
I know. I could too.
It's such an amazing topic, and we can always, go deeper and talk more about it. So what I want to ask you, so how can people reach you? Because I feel you have so much to give and so much to share. And I can imagine someone who's watching this video would like to reach out to you and, maybe experience how it is to work with you and change their story.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yes, I come from Lithuania. So mainly I work with Lithuanian who live in Lithuania or expats around the world globally. But at the moment, I'm also doing my English website. So at the moment, you won't find anything in English about me. Well, if you want to translate my Lithuanian website, that's a bit tricky. So I wouldn't
Okay.
recommend that. The Google Translator is not very precise. But
Yeah.
you can always reach me by email, transform.with.love@gmail.com.
Mm-hmm.
Transform.with.love@gmail.com, and I will, and we can arrange to do our sessions. I normally do 3 month sessions, so we can
Mm-hmm.
actually really go deep into our story, into our pains and struggles,
Yeah.
and I help. And the way I coach and teach people, I give them tools. I
Yeah.
want women to come to me and not only heal and go deeper into their own story, into their own pains,
Mm-hmm.
and lift that unworthiness or inferiority complex or low self-confidence or doubts.
Yeah.
Um, but I give tools also, and they can use these, when we finish, they can use these tools independently
Yeah. Great.
after we finish. So my job is to teach you and give you as many tools as possible for you to be able to do it on your own,
Mm-hmm.
because sometimes we are on our own. And for me personally, if I look back at my journey,
Mm-hmm.
if I had these tools and knew that wisdom and knew that emotional, intelligence, I would probably have made it shorter, that
Yeah.
that pain. you
Mm-hmm.
know so really knowing these tools is really, really helpful. Let's say a lot of people know about forgiveness, and in our pain, transforming our pains and our stories is very much about forgiveness,
Yeah.
but not a lot of people know how to do that forgiveness.
Yeah.
How
Absolutely.
does it work, and how do you know that you forgave?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Some women come to me and say, I worked on my parents and I forgave, it's all right,
Mm-hmm.
but they're still stuck in some things. And I know, because there's a bit of layers sometimes. Sometimes
Yeah.
you forgive once and then you need to forgive again and again, or go deeper and deeper and deeper,
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I
to
agree.
forgive completely, to finish that cycle. So
Mm-hmm.
sometimes even having conversation with me, sometimes women know, like, okay, that makes sense. I just need to go a bit deeper, and then we go deeper, and then we find what exactly why they still were feeling stuck, or they were not able to forgive completely.
Yeah.
Or they can use technique. They can use some techniques actually much more, go faster and go deeper than some other things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because we stay sometimes too intellectual. So we stay in our mind. We say, oh my God, yeah, I'm all positive. I understand everything. Yes. But it's only here. We need to
Yeah.
go here. That's
Yeah.
where the transformation happens. So
Mm-hmm.
when you work with the coach helps you go deeper in your heart
Mm-hmm.
and experience that pain. We don't want to experience pain. So we sometimes sort of shy away from pain. We sort of push
Yeah.
away that pain, like, no, I'm okay. No,
Mm-hmm.
no, you're not. And so I create that sacred space in our session to really allow someone to open up more. And I see things from
Mm-hmm.
my own, because I've been there. So I know exactly where the woman is. I
Mm-hmm.
know exactly where she is at.
Yeah.
I completely empathize. I know what she's going through, but I know how to help her get out of it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
yeah,
Beautiful. Really powerful. And I love that. I love that, giving them tools so that they can do things on their own. Because, these situations come up and
yes,
then you're on your own. And what are you going to do? So this is great. Yeah.
yes.
I love
Let's
it.
give our viewers some maybe exercise before we
Yeah.
finish. What
Yeah.
do you think? Yeah,
Sure. Please
yeah.
do.
So, what sort of exercise we would like to do when it comes to our story? Just the beginning, or maybe something about self-love, self-worth. What do you reckon?
Um, I don't know if anything comes to mind. You can just share. You shared a little bit about forgiving.
Hmm.
And I feel forgiving is, yeah, it's also such a kind of huge concept, and not a lot of people understand. Okay, what is forgiving? Okay, I forgive you. Um, it's it's not really taught what forgiveness really is about. So
Yeah,
maybe you
what's
can
the
share
process?
an
Mm.
exercise about that.
Okay, excellent, good. So, first of all, when it comes to self-love, forgiveness is a key ingredient, key element. Yes, when I teach about self-love in my consultations, we have 7 different components of self-love, and one of the components is forgiveness towards yourself, self-forgiveness,
Yeah.
and forgiveness towards others. So we can always, a lot of times we start actually forgiving others. Strangely enough, for a lot of us, it's easier to forgive others, even though they really hurt us, than
Yeah.
forgive ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
So I always start with others. So for those who watch and have never tried forgiveness, or maybe you've tried it but you want to try again, uh, think about your story and find someone who you feel has hurt you. Hurt you emotionally or in any other ways hurt you. So write that person's name on a piece of paper. And the first bit of forgiveness exercise is to write everything in detail. How did these people hurt you? Mm-hmm. So you imagine like you are talking to that person and you have an opportunity to say to that person, mm-hmm, you hurt me so bad. I was feeling this and that. I was crying. You crushed me. You crushed my soul. I was completely broken in a million pieces. It took me 3 years to start feeling sort of like literally back, like me again, and just literally write down how exactly they hurt you and how did you feel and how what is painful. So literally allow yourself to feel these emotions. A lot of my ladies really, really cry. Mm-hmm. And you really have to notice, how do you feel when you write that letter? Yeah. Mm-hmm. You need to allow that hurt to come onto the surface, because a lot of times, as I said, we pack our pain really deep, 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 deep enough, and we hold in our body, in our energy body, in our soul. Yeah. So by releasing that hurt, that pain, writing that letter, we allow all these emotions to lift and let go. We sort of feel them again, and it's a lot of times it's very, very painful. It is. But the thing is, because we are doing it consciously, we're releasing these emotions. Mm-hmm. Most of the people don't really need to come back to that level of pain anymore. If they do it properly, they release it, they don't need to come back anymore. So you basically write that letter. So that's the first bit. Yeah. Then there's another bit of the letter. You say, I am sorry. Mm-hmm. And for all of us is one of the hardest things to do, to say sorry to someone who hurt us. Yeah. A lot of my clients say, well, I don't think I'm sorry for anything. I mean, they hurt me. But actually, when they go into this exercise, they are able to find things they are actually sorry about. In my particular situation, when I was writing to my mother this letter, I said, Mom, I am sorry that maybe I was never a daughter you wanted me to be. Because she also had dreams, and she also had ideas or aspirations, what sort of daughter I was supposed to be. Yeah. So I said, Mom, I'm sorry, maybe I wasn't behaving always the most understanding way. Because when I felt hurt by her, I also was closing down. I didn't want to talk, or was angry and disappointed with her as well. Yeah. I also, deep, deep, deep down in my heart, I also blamed her too. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I said, I'm sorry, I blamed as well you too. Mm-hmm. Because I didn't know her story and her pain. Yeah. So of course I blame her that, why is she, she's so harsh with me. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So this is also one of the powerful ways to say how the person hurt you, and then say, be sorry, realize your own responsibility in that relationship. Mm-hmm. And sometimes we're very little, sometimes maybe we're 3 years old and we were hurt by our parents. Yeah. But we can also just, you might not find it, but just be open and look into it responsibly. Like, I'm stepping into that pain and I want to see my part. How did I contribute to that experience? And maybe I didn't know things, and maybe it was unknowingly, maybe it was, subconsciously. but I want now, when writing that letter, to be conscious that I did something as well there, and maybe there are things I want to say sorry
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
about.
Okay.
And then the third part is forgiving.
Mm-hmm.
And say, at this point in time, I want to forgive you for my own freedom.
Yeah.
I want to release my own pain. I want to release you.
Mm-hmm.
So I forgive you. I forgive that story. I forgive that situation. I forgive that past. And I want to move on. I want to open my heart to more joy and more of everything, but not pain. So you're releasing that pain, you're releasing that story, and you're letting go. And also write down that I'm letting go. I'm forgiving and I'm letting go. So I'm not going to come back with my thoughts back to that experience, not back to you. I'm not going to, sometimes say, oh, I forgave you. But then after 2 weeks, daughter and mother meet, or maybe other people meet, and then they're like, yeah, but 3 weeks ago I said forgive you, but but you're still doing this. So it's not forgiveness. It's just
Yeah. Yeah.
we're not deeply, we're not there. When
Mm-hmm.
you forgive, you decide 100% that whatever you experience, it's gone. It's in the past. It's on the next page. It's done,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
and you move on.
Mm-hmm.
You choose to move on, and you do not identify with that pain. So you forgive these people and release them and let them go.
Yeah. Mm.
So it's a very powerful
Yeah.
process. It
Mm-hmm.
takes, for a lot of people, it takes actually quite minimum a week, few weeks. You come to the letter, right, and sort of leave it. So you be as much as possible present, 100% present in that process. Be committed. You need to desire that change. You need to want to let go, to forgive, to understand that person, to honor the experience, and to understand that nothing in life happens for no reason, one
Yeah.
thing. And don't take it personally. People who hurt us, even parents, even though it looks personally, a lot of people don't want to hurt us. Deep down, nobody wants to
Yeah.
hurt each other.
Yeah. Of
It just
course.
happens because of their story, of their insecurities, and their deficiency, their hunger, inner hunger. That's why
Mm-hmm.
it happens.
Yeah.
Because if your mother was completely happy and loved, she wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
If you
Mm-hmm.
if you're stressed, disbalanced, misaligned, hurt, that's where you become uncontrollable and toxic, and you need these people and you manipulate. When you are in alignment, you don't do it. So if you know someone who did hurt you,
Mm-hmm.
remember that they did hurt you because they were hurt
Yeah.
before.
Mm. Mm. Oh,
Yeah. Well,
thank
I
you
hope
so
it
much.
helps. I hope it helps.
Yeah, it
Try. It's
does.
really transformative. It's really transformative.
Really. And just you sharing that really gives me a lot of realizations for myself because, when I talk to my children and I explain to them, when they are playing with other children and this one child is angry and and then I usually explain them, he or she is just behaving that way because they are hurt themselves. And it's easy to explain that to children, but to really take it and implement this process in our own lives, yeah. So it's a great reminder for myself, and I'm so grateful that you shared that. Yeah, thank
It's
you
a
so much.
practice, you are right.
Yeah,
Everything is a practice. Self-love, the way I teach self-love, I always say it's self-love is a practice. It's a
yeah,
new way of being, a different way of being, but it is a practice. So it's like gratitude. It's a practice, isn't it? So
yeah,
you choose to be grateful to someone, whatever they did. You say, thank you, I appreciate you. It's nice that you were here. It's nice that you've done something to me. And self-love is the same way. So you practice it. You choose to
mm,
see yourself in a positive light, and you choose to see, funnily enough, not funnily enough, it's so powerful because when you choose to see yourself in love, in worth, in deserving, you see others this way. And
yeah,
that's where
mm,
transformation is so incredible,
that's
because
true.
when you
Yeah,
choose to see yourself as whole, as divine, and heal yourself, and you feel like you deserve everything in your life, suddenly you are able to help other people, and you see the love in their lives too. So it's really transformative, and I absolutely recommend everyone to go through transformation and to reach these levels of self-love, because they are available, they are there, and for those who seek, it's going to be provided, it's going to be given.
Yeah. Mm. Thank you so, so much. Oh, that was just amazing. Yeah. And I love this exercise. Great. And I feel a lot of people will benefit from that. Yeah.
I hope
So,
so too.
yeah. And with that, we're at the end of our interview. I think we
Oh,
went a little bit over time, but that's okay.
really? Oh my God. Oh dear.
Yeah, but as I said, we could talk for hours. It's just so interesting. I love this topic. And yeah, thank you so much for being here. And yeah, we already
Thank you
shared
so much.
everything.
Thank you so much. I appreciate what you do. It's so important. And thank you for being present and inviting me and everybody else into the sacred space where we can trust each other, we can share things together, and we can make our life better. We can feel better. And it's so important. So thank you. Thank you, Katya. Appreciate that.
You're welcome. Okay. So I wish you a wonderful day. Thank you so, so much. It was great talking to you. And yeah, we already shared how people can reach you, and we can find you on Facebook as well.
Yes.
Yeah. And you do some amazing work, great work. Thank you so, so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Katya. Are you coming to Paris?
I am. We will meet soon.
That's gonna be
We will
great.
meet soon. Okay.
Yes,
So with that, I
thank
say
you so much.
bye-bye, and we will meet soon.
You meet soon. Bye.